All right, I got 5:30, so we will call this meeting to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thanks for being here tonight. Quite a crowd. I would just ask you all to silence your cell phones, if you would, please, and remember that we're all here because we love this city and we want what's best for it. And Mickey, would you make a quick intro, please?
Yeah, Mayor, thank you for the opportunity. I have a special guest here tonight. In 31 years as city manager, she has only attended 2 meetings. This is the second. The first time she slipped in on me. But it's my wife, my bride of 41 years, Donna Webb. It's right back there.
All right. Welcome, Donna.
Thank you for that indulgence.
Sure. All right. The first item on the agenda then is an appointment to the Planning Commission. And I guess this one was caused by John Fowler resigning as he's working out of town. We certainly appreciate his service on the Planning Commission. And then it's a little complicated because Mary Jo Dancer was outside the city, and now she's not.
Yeah, and just in case there's any doubt, I'm going to
Excuse yourself?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to excuse myself.
All right, so we can talk about him now.
Yeah.
All right, so what I would propose then is, since she's was an outside the city limit member, appoint her to John Fowler's position as an inside member, and then we'll advertise for an outside member. You good with that?
Yeah, that'd be a lot easier.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So I'm going to make that appointment. I guess I need you to second it.
I'll second.
All right, thanks. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. So we will advertise for the outside city position? Yes. All right. Great. Get Fred back in. He caused all this, sort of. Thank you, Fred. Okay. Next, we have the consent agenda. Gentlemen, anything you'd like to pull off of there to discuss?
I didn't have anything.
I'm good.
All right. May I have a motion, please, then?
Make a motion we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. That gets us A through F done. Okay, next on the list we have 4 public hearings scheduled. The first public hearing is for 510 South 4th, which is no longer there. Do we still want to have a public hearing?
Well, we have to make a decision.
Okay, all right. So we'll open the public hearing on 510 South 4th. Young man.
Yes, the structure has been removed by the owner. The staff recommends not proceeding with condemnation.
That seems like a
Shocker.
Seems like a good plan to me. But we have to give anybody in the public an opportunity to speak at a public hearing. Is there anybody that would like to comment on this now empty lot? All right. Gentlemen?
No.
No action to take on this one?
No.
Right. Okay. So we'll close that public hearing, and we'll open the public hearing on 624 North 17th.
Yes. So staff recommends proceeding with condemnation and providing the owner 30 days to diligently pursue repair or removal.
All right. Gentlemen, any questions on this one? We've discussed it before.
No.
Any members of the public here that would like to comment on this one? Owners? Are the owners here? All right. Okay, so close the public hearing then and then vote on it? Okay, so we'll close the public hearing. Do I have a motion on this one?
I make a motion we proceed with condemnation of 624 North 17th.
Second.
Go ahead, friend.
Second.
All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, 3-0 on that one. Next, we'll open the public hearing on 223 West Main.
Yes. So staff recommends adjourning the hearing for an additional 120 days. There's the possibility of grant money and maybe some other funding, so we'd like to give the owner an opportunity to pursue those options.
Okay.
So you recommend bringing it back in
Yes.
120
in
days?
120 days, yes.
This is a public hearing. Any member of the public is welcome to come up and speak on this one if they'd like. All right. Seeing no hands. Gentlemen, how do you feel about that?
Good with that.
Good.
All right. Okay. We don't need a motion on that, do we? I think we need a motion?
Yes, you do.
Close.
Okay,
Close
all right.
the hearing.
So we'll close that public hearing for 223 West Main and move to give them another 120 days to
Adjourn the hearing for 120 days.
adjourn, thank you. Adjourn the hearing for 120 days. All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right. 3-0 on that one. Thank you, Kelly. Okay, we will open the public hearing for 1016 West Cottonwood.
Yes. So staff recommends adjourning the hearing additional 120 days on this one as well. There is a new owner that is actively pursuing rehabilitation and repair of this building. So we would like to visit that in another 120 days. That's our recommendation.
Gentlemen, any thoughts on that?
No, I'm good.
Leonard, you okay with that?
Is the owner present or?
Is the owner here?
I am not sure if the owner is here or
I
not.
think they are.
It is a public hearing, so anyone's welcome to speak again.
I
if you'd
spoke
like
to the
say
owner
something.
earlier today. I don't think he was planning on being here.
Okay. All right. All right, so we're going to move to adjourn this one for an additional 120 days.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Great. Good news. Okay. Item H. Consider setting the date of October 26, 2016 at 5:30 p.m. for a public hearing to consider condemnation of 309 Cypress as dangerous and unsafe.
Yes. That is our recommendation.
I just need to point out I was off on my day, so we are actually recommending the date of November 10th, 2016. That was my error.
All right. So give us a little background on this one. I know we've already voted to do this once.
Well, it is my understanding that in the interim there was a new owner, and the building was not tore down. I think I'm trying to remember. This was previous to my coming on, and in the
Right.
interim,
What
Need it.
happened is they signed for us to go ahead and take it out.
The previous owner.
The previous
Right.
owner, and then
Then they sold it,
transferred title,
even
yes.
though we'd already
And
agreed
we,
to
and
it.
we hadn't advertised or anything because of that.
All right. Because we already had that signed agreement giving us permission to take
Yes.
it down. All right. Gentlemen, how do you feel about this one?
So is the owner,
Present.
it's only changed once, right?
Yes.
Gene Carlson is
yes,
still the owner.
yes.
Okay.
Is Mr. Carlson present? Would like to speak? All right. What's your pleasure, gentlemen?
I think we go with staff recommendation.
All right. So,
I'd make a motion then that we can set the date of November 10th, 2016 at 5:30 for a public hearing to consider condemnation of 309 Cypress.
I'll second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. 3-0. Okay. Item I. Review the following previously condemned properties. 200 South 9.
I've had an HQS inspection and had subsequent meetings with the owner, as meeting the timelines that we've set, and staff recommends reviewing this in 90 days.
Mayor, we had discussed a year ago on the ones that are not having a problem, that the staff just deal with them, and like if they feel it's making progress,
Not bring it back to
not
us.
bring it back, and it would. I trust the way it's going, that if they feel comfortable with making a recommendation, just for them to proceed with the extension. Jeff, is there a legal reason that it needs to come back if there's not a problem?
The only legal reason it would need to come to you is if you're taking the next step to, demolition.
So it would
Condemnation.
be
It's not even,
a benefit
He's
of
already condemned.
oh, they are.
time
That's
on
right.
our part
Yeah.
to
Yeah, we don't
just
need to review
deal
them
with
all
the
if-
ones that are a problem.
Yeah, if they're moving along just fine and you're happy with them. We did decide that before you were on our staff, so Fred, are you okay with that?
The only question I would have is that on the extension, sometimes they'll have to have an extension, we'll have to grant that, isn't that correct? Jeff?
Well, you did adopt that policy about the 9 months being kind of the total time frame. If you go beyond that, I think the intent was to bring it back for you guys to make that decision.
So I'm good with it as long as we follow the policy.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Okay?
Okay.
So if they've given you a timeline and they're sticking to it and they're doing good, you probably
Okay.
don't need to come back and tell us that. Just
Okay,
the
fantastic.
problems. That'd be great.
That'll work.
Thank you, Leonard. That house is looking beautiful, by the way.
It is.
Okay, so I'm going to continue on through the list since we got them. 208 West Walnut.
Yes, this has changed ownership, and so we've had a meeting with the new owner. They've cleaned out the inside, and we'll be reviewing in 60 days their plan for remodel and rehabilitation of this. So we would revisit in 60 days, but we won't bring it before you unless there's an
Okay.
issue.
So the new owner is aware that this was already under condemnation
Yes.
proceedings?
Yes.
Okay. He looks like he's made dramatic changes to the building.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any questions for him on this one, gentlemen?
No.
No.
Okay. Number 3 is 300 South 14th.
Yeah, we had a chance to meet with him and meet with the owner and the owner's representative, and there has been progress made. We recommend reviewing in another 60 days to see if they're able to continue to meet the timeline.
Okay. Questions?
No. It's
All
nice,
right.
It's nice to see that
Yeah.
some of these houses are being saved and rehabbed.
Boy, no kidding. That's wonderful. Okay, Don, 321 South 14th.
Yes, same thing. 321 South 14th. We recommend reviewing in 60 days. The owner has died, and we need to do some research on who's responsible for the property now. There has not been anything done on this property in quite
Okay.
a while.
Okay.
But we need to do some research to see
Ownership.
so we can see how to proceed in the future.
Okay. Good to know. I haven't seen that one. Okay, any questions, gentlemen?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right, 504 South 18th.
Yeah, the structure was removed by the owner, and we'd like to place this on a future agenda to rescind the condemnation action.
Great.
It'll be good.
Yes, that was good.
That was good.
Okay.
And
Why don't you just do it now?
Because we haven't assessed the charges back against the property. I just had it found out today that we'd like to rescind, and we need to assess the charges back before we rescind the condemnation. That's been our policy.
Okay. 601 South First, is that next? No.
508
Sorry,
South
508
16th.
16th. Yeah, sorry.
yeah, we are recommending authorizing staff to set the date to receive bids for removal on this one. There's not been any progress or effort made to do anything on this.
Have you had any
And-
contact with them?
They have not responded to any of our attempts to contact them.
Okay.
Isn't this the one she told us last time she was trying to sell it? Or am I confusing this?
That's a different one.
Okay. All right. Oh, yeah, that's on North 17. Okay. Gentlemen, your thoughts on this one?
I think we go with
No, I don't.
Don's recommendation. Proceed with condemnation. In fact, I'd make a
To
motion that,
To receive bids for removal, yes.
yeah. Oh, yeah, that's what I meant. I'd make a motion that we proceed with receiving bids for removal of 508 South 16.
I'll second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Next up, Don, 601 South First.
Same recommendation. Staff recommends authorizing staff to set the date to receive bids for removal on this property. There's been no efforts to make repairs and been no response to or to meet with us when we set times to review this.
Okay. Fred?
Well, I'm good. I think we,
Okay. All right, somebody want to make a motion on this one?
sure, I'd make a motion that we proceed with removal of 601 South First.
Okay. Close enough? All right. I'll second that. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Next up,
Yes. Busy month.
I guess. Wow. I don't remember ever seeing this many on the list. 605 North 16th.
Yeah, we're very pleased with the progress that he's making to rehabilitate this property. We recommend reviewing this in 90 days.
Done a lot of work on this one, haven't
Yeah,
we?
he has, and mainly by himself. It's been commendable what he's been trying to do there.
Great. You okay with that, Leonard?
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good, Don. Thank you. Next one is 609 East Poplar.
Yeah, we recommend authorizing staff to set a date to receive bids for removal. I did have a chance to speak with the owner this week. She has some health issues and will not be able to be here tonight, I don't believe. I don't want to speak out of turn if she is here, but she agrees that she's not going to be able to do anything to repair it or to rehabilitate it.
Okay. All right. I'll move that we direct staff to get bids to removal of 609 East Poplar.
I'll second the motion.
All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. 621 North 16th.
Yes. This is a homeowner that wanted to do the demolition himself, has been attending fire training school, is now done with fire training school, have visited with him. Sections of the house have been removed, and as you can see in this picture here, he is taking the roof off. We're extending the demolition permit an additional 30 days to allow him to remove the structure.
Sounds great.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Do we need to approve extent? We don't? Okay.
All right, Leonard, you're okay with that?
I'm fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. All right, next.
625 North 16th. We're recommending authorizing staff to set the date to receive bids for removal on this property. No response to our letters or to our contact to meet to inspect the property or to work out a plan for rehabilitation. So,
Okay. Any thoughts, gentlemen?
No. I'm good with staff recommendation.
Okay. Leonard?
No, I don't have any
Okay.
questions about it.
All righty. I'll move that we direct staff to solicit bids for removal of 625 North 16th.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right. 804 West Main.
yes, we recommend that we authorize staff to set the date to receive bids for removal on this one. Again, we've never had any response to our letters to inspect or to set a timeline for rehabilitation. So we're asking to be able to receive bids to take the structure down.
This one, I believe there was a loan on it, wasn't there? You know what we were told last time on this?
I am not aware of that.
Okay. All right.
There was a statute being considered that would allow nonprofit organizations to take possession of some of these abandoned houses for rehab. Do you know the status of that? It was a year or so ago they were discussing at the legislature.
I'm not aware of that because you're talking about transferring ownership without compensation. I don't know how they do that. All the city's doing is demoing it. The owner still
No.
owns the vacant lot, so I don't know.
There was a bill being introduced a couple years ago. The league was sponsoring. I think it was from one of the representatives in the Wyandotte or Johnson County area.
Unless it's passed, I won't hear about it usually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe contact the league.
Okay. Move forward with this one then?
Yeah. I'm
All right.
good with that.
I'll make a motion that we authorize staff to set the date to receive bids for removal of 804 West Main.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right.
821 East Maple, we recommend reviewing in 60 days. Did have a chance to meet with the owner. There has been
You
some,
did have a chance?
Yes, I did.
Uh-huh.
He was at the appointment. We did see that there has been some progress being made. We recommend giving an additional day, 60 days, to see if he'll continue to rehabilitate the property.
Great. Pleased that he's working on that one.
Right.
Okay. 914 North 6th.
We recommend reviewing in 60 days on this one. Did have a chance to meet with the owner and did see that repairs have been done after the fire, I think is what caused us originally to be condemned. Has been working on it and plans on continuing to meet the timeline. So we'd like to visit that in 60 days, see where we're at with that.
Great.
I'm good.
I'm good.
All right. Sounds wonderful, Don. Thank you. It's a cute house.
It is.
Okay, 921 East Hill.
Yes, this is the Housing Quality Standard Inspection has been passed. We would like to place this on a future agenda to rescind the condemnation action. We the owner's here. If you'll, Charles, will you stand? We'd like to recognize him.
All right.
For his work hard. Worked very hard to get that property up. And
That's great. I wish we heard that a little more often.
Yeah, this is nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So
Wonderful.
Very happy about that.
All right. Great. Okay, 1201 West Laurel.
Yeah, we've had a chance to meet with the owner, and we recommend reviewing in 90 days. They've been able to meet the timelines that have been set, and we anticipate that they'll continue to be able to meet those.
It looks like it's being lived in. Is that just a
The
illusion?
owner was there the day that we were there, but so.
All right.
I'm good.
Leonard, you okay?
Yeah.
All right. Number 17, 1328 Irving.
Yeah, we recommend reviewing in 60 days. When I was there, I was able to look and see that the owner has been making repairs and making attempt. I think this was another fire-damaged property originally. So it's been taken out all inside. It's making efforts to get it rehabilitated and change the footprint a little bit. But we want to review it in 60 days.
Great. Great news. All right. Any questions, gentlemen?
No questions.
Okay. And the next one is 2905 Regency Drive.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to keep up with what's being done there. It's lots being done there. So well ahead of the timelines that we've set. We recommend reviewing in 90 days.
Great. Wonderful.
Good.
Beautiful house. Okay. Any questions on that one?
No.
All right.
Good.
Great. Thank you for those.
Thanks, Don.
Okay. Item J, consider any reasonable or prudent alternatives regarding demolition of the structure at 201 East Main. I do have one member of the public that signed a form here to speak. Is it Doug Anderson? Hey, Doug. Sorry, I couldn't read your writing for sure. Yeah, sorry, you got to beat the mic. Everybody watching it on YouTube wants to hear what you have to say. Got 3 minutes.
Thank you. We went up top by permission of the owners and reviewed this property. Due to the different financial grants and stuff like that, and 10 different families in town here. After talking to Jack about an hour ago, there is a way for them to write it off, and that's donated to our church to be used as a nonprofit type place. The front will be used for furniture, food, storage, things like that to help out community. The back part will be turned into a youth-style, church-style area. But none of that will happen until after the repairs have been done. There's a lot of work to be done there.
Mm-hmm.
We did look up the back. We did look in the back where the roof had actually fell in. That would be removed completely. The walls will stay within, to add like a small boxed-off garden to where the kids can have a small dinner or something like that after school, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Our suggestion would be to buy it for $1 and work very hard on it. But he could actually write it off by donating it to us under our church.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke to him. He said that I guess you guys got your marching orders. He's kind of a weird guy. But New Yorker. But anyway, go figure. He said that if I could talk to you guys and you could see where that is. I understand that it's in a historical society area also, and that it's going to allow more grants to be used let alone the other grants along with the churches that can be used at that time also. It's a way to save something instead of making another parking lot, I reckon, guys. Thank you.
Any questions for Doug? All right, thank you, Doug. That is shedding some new light on that one.
We received the email that we handed out at 3:43 p.m. today, and they did not send any follow-up emails. I just checked my phone since then saying that anything has changed, so this is news to us.
Yeah. I talked to Jack earlier today, too. Sounded like he was ready to, be done with it, get rid of it however he could. But then this Ken, I'm not sure who's in charge of that.
Well, I think that's his attorney, isn't it? I think so. Yes.
So the selling it for $1, that doesn't,
Well, I was going to ask him, clarify who is going to make these repairs.
right,
Was it the current owner, or was it going to be title transferred and they make the repairs? I mean, I
Doug?
didn't understand.
Yeah, come on back up to the microphone, Doug.
because this memo, or this email says that, repairs could be 110 to 125,000.
Correct.
So, you're aware of
We are.
most of this information.
We are. It'll be a title transfer completely
Before or after the repairs?
before,
You'll take it as is.
as is, where it is. I wouldn't have it any other way. He talked to me previously. He told me it was worth $325,000.
I remember.
I don't know where he got his estimate from, but I reckon that's wrong. But, we got to talking to him, and I think it put a little bit more light on him when he figured out that you guys are serious about what you're doing, and we're just not a small hick town. But anyway, it would take a lot. We have a lot of men from the church, a lot of men from the community that's willing to do it. We've helped out a lot of families already in this community. Children come home, things like that as part of our ministries. And like I said, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of money. Am I going to say it's going to be done overnight? No, guys, no ladies. It ain't. It's going to take about probably 9 months to a year for us to swing everything in. But I think it's worth saving. After seeing the roof, I seen 5 tears specifically in it. And after speaking to 3 roofers, specifically roofers, they said that I think the way they're looking at it is they're going to fix it the best they can. They thought they could just repair them tears. Now, the bad part on the back is the way they built the structure, where it collapsed. They put 2x4 over 2x4 like this. You can't do that. That's, crazy. And then they put all this heavy stuff on. Well, what happened is it went like this.
Yeah.
Okay? Common sense says boo-boo. But what we're going to do is take that entire roof off because it's actually an addition. It's not part of the main structure. It was an addition. And if you go back and look at it, you'll see a line straight down there. If we have to, we'll remove the whole brick wall completely because it's not attached, engineering-wise, to the main building itself. So we can always remove that. I think it'd be neat for the kids to have some place to maybe go and eat a little dinner afterward, after school, like an after-school program or something like that, and use the different funds from different agencies that we can get and obtain. But as far as the title goes, it would be out of their name and in the church name, so we would be solely responsible as a church on it. And that's kind of the way I'd want it. He said it was a big red blob. And I was like, yeah, but that's a really big red blob. That's what I told him.
It's a good-sized building.
It really is. It's, I think 13,000 square feet is the estimate of it. But the biggest part that fell back, the picture you got where the white truck is, if you go on back in the alley a little bit, you could see where I was talking about. And it's actually just an addition that fell in. Now, due to ill repair and them not really doing maintenance on it, back in this corner right here is probably the biggest repair that's going to be needed because that's the biggest rip right there. And that's what allowed a lot of the water to come in and then filter throughout. So all that's going to have to be tore out and replaced.
Yeah.
And then
After you replace the joists, it sounds like.
Yes. Yeah, you're going to have to redo it and redo it right the first time. There's no second chances on this place. And that's kind of what we're looking at. I've looked at the roof twice, and I'm scared of heights, but I got up there anyway. I wanted to check it out myself to make sure that I knew what I was talking about. And the back room, they just didn't really cover it, and I think that's part of what the biggest concern was: who's getting in there, who's going to get hurt, things like that. But if that roof's tore out, you can actually secure everything within and make a nice little garden out back.
I know you already own the building like 3 doors west of this one.
Correct.
So you have 2 buildings there on those 2
Yes.
blocks. What, can you explain what you'll be doing with the second building?
Yeah, we're going to put canned food in there. There's den and canned foods that happen all the time throughout the nation. We're going to bring semis in a den and canned foods, and we're going to set up a POS in there where people can come in. You can sell cans of corn for 13 cents a can. And that way it helps structure out different things. If they're on food stamps, it'll help spread that out, maybe condense the budgets down a little bit. Some of the other things, people that's struggling can come into us, and we can actually help donate them some food, things like that, through that place. It's all going to be tied into our church under one accord. It's quite unique. Today we sent out, I think it was a truckload of food, if that tells you anything, to homes here in the community. And I think that's kind of cool. But we get to help, we get to reach out and address certain things. Last week we brought 7 kids home from the SRS through that building at 119 East Main that you're talking about. The building on that, we're getting ready, we got the windows ordered to go upstairs.
Great.
And we're going to replace those with replacement windows. We went out of Barnesville for that, and we're going to do that way. And that way we can start to address a little bit more, make it look nicer and more friendly. A lot of this is going to need painted on the outside. It's going to need freshened up, cleaned up right from the get-go. The first thing I think needs fixed on is the roof, because otherwise you're just going and cleaned up in the back where it collapsed.
Right.
Those are the 2 first things that's got to happen. Otherwise, you're just spinning your wheels, and it really ain't going to work out if you don't take care of them 2 things, because everything you
Right.
replace inside, you're ruining in the process. So, yeah.
I'd love to know our architect's thoughts on this. You have anything pop into your mind about this building?
No, I think what I saw is pretty much what he's saying. That corner appears to be an addition. You can see in one of our photographs where the roof has collapsed, a window in the party wall between the addition, and the 2 are separate, and the rest of the building looks structurally sound. You know, the roof is a weak link, and if you keep the water coming out, it'll preserve the rest of the building. I think the important thing looking at somebody taking it and fixing it is the appearance coming into town. When you see places where buildings have been removed, it projects a negative atmosphere that we're struggling. And that building is so prominent. The activity from 13,000 square feet, the potential of a church or the other services that you're talking about utilizing would bring a lot of activity to that corner and hopefully then filter downtown also. So I think architecturally the building has a lot of potential with the open space that you need for large rooms, unobstructed with columns, and fixing the splits first and then looking at replacing the roof membrane in sections is a possibility. But the part that's really collapsed is non-structural to the rest of the building. The vines that have grown up have mingled through the mortar joints in that wall, so that's the worst
so that'll
part.
have to be fixed. That'll have to be tucked.
Right, cut and removed, and maybe cut out some brick to remove it. But overall, the integrity looks strong, and with some talent and labor, I think it could be turned around and be a vital part again of downtown.
If I may add one thing. I think it'd make a big thing for the youth in this area, and I think that needs to be done. I don't see a lot of activities for the young people, especially after-school programs. The high school, the middle schools, don't get me wrong, they have it. But maybe we can reach out more and really turn it up a little bit more, maybe through counseling and different things like that, and start to teach a whole new generation of doing things a little bit different, maybe. That's what I was thinking, but, yeah.
Well, this is as messy a one as we've ever seen, I think, because we still need to take action to demolish it
I know.
because it's unsafe. However, the Historical Society doesn't want us to because we have to prove it can't be used for anything else, and you're saying it can.
It can, by far.
Yeah.
What you could do is give him whatever length of time you feel he needs to close his deal with the current owner, and upon satisfactory proof that that's occurred, then I guess there's no need to go forward with this hearing the state historic people want you to.
Right.
Because this is a feasible alternative.
Right.
So you're back to the demolition process, and then you would have to work with Don to.
Right.
On a timeline.
Yeah.
And go forward.
Yeah.
Did you understand that?
Absolutely,
Okay.
every word of it, yeah.
It
I'm
is
good with
just that
repurpose.
one portion of the roof, isn't it?
I think so.
So if it's identified that that one portion of the roof in some kind of correspondence that we could keep track of when that's secured
Yeah. Not a
first.
problem.
Well, you and I talked about this months ago,
We did.
and at the time we both talked to the owner, and they said they weren't interested, but now they are apparently.
Well, his biggest concern is, I think, getting a write-off. I'm not real sure who's in charge of this. I keep talking to Jack.
Right.
I'm a lot like you are.
Yeah.
But I'm supposed to call him after the meeting, and I think I'm just going to ask for the direct line number, so to speak, and then I'll tell them what we're planning on doing. They can donate, and they can actually get what's considered county assessment to the church as a write-off, as a gift.
Right.
Okay.
And I would think he'd jump at it because he
Exactly.
was looking at spending $100,000 to bring it down.
The
So-
number he used was 130,000 to be
Yeah.
exact. So
Right.
if he can write off 75,000, I would sure think he'd kind of jump like a frog at that one. So,
Yeah, even if you can't write off anything, I would think he would.
and that's
I doubt
where
the
we're
county
going.
thinks it's worth $75,000, but who knows?
I would think that we should be able, if he's willing to do it, it should be able to be closed in, 60 days or so? Is that a good assessment?
Well,
I
how
think-
much time do we give them? 60, 90 days?
These guys are not easy to work with. I don't think it'll happen very quickly myself. but-
Okay.
So you have, what
Well,
do you
you
have?
tell them you have a 30-day deadline, but they'll give you longer.
That's fine. That's fine.
Well, yeah, so we could say 60 days and you.
And I can keep you guys updated all the way along the
Yeah.
way. If something changes and they just said, no, point blank, then I'll get a hold of one of you guys throughout the week and say, hey, they're just being stubborn, said no way, and
Yeah, that'd be
let it
great.
roll.
I know you're a man of faith because you don't have a church, but lie to him if you have to. Okay.
Are you saying to play a little poker?
Exactly. All right. Well, that's a surprise.
I think you need to adjourn this hearing that you had on the,
Okay.
and just notify the state the hearing was adjourned to whatever
Okay.
date you think's appropriate.
Right. Okay. So we will adjourn that hearing to discuss reasonable or prudent alternatives instead of demolition, as we have apparently a reasonable, prudent alternative.
Was this it's not
Do
noted
we
as
need
a
to have a date?
hearing?
No. Yeah, it's actually not a hearing. It's just part of the meeting because there were no notice requirements on it.
Right.
Yeah.
But you at least ought to let the state know that the hearing was recessed or adjourned to a later date. Maybe tell them the date or set a date.
I'll adjourn it 30 days because, like I said, the last time we talked to the owners late this afternoon, they didn't tell us. They
Right.
wanted the commission to authorize them to remove
Right.
it.
That's what Jack told me too. But I'm willing to give this a try.
Right.
Yeah.
Give them
Right.
a chance to repurpose because it's a wonderful cause.
I can't imagine they wouldn't do it.
No,
It'd save them
I can't either. We just
$100,000.
don't have any way to
Right.
verify that
Right. Yeah.
since we last spoke to them.
So, Dawn, can you stay in contact with this gentleman and make sure this is going to happen?
Yes, sir.
That'd be great.
So this comes back October 26th,
Well, that'd be 30 days?
30 days. That'd be
Yeah,
the next
30
meeting.
days.
Messy one.
Is 30 days enough? Do you?
You're dealing with some New York guys, like you said. So, maybe
It's like
not a
45
New
or
York-
60.
Well, you could adjourn it again, because part of it is we haven't talked to the owner. We don't even know anything other than what they told us.
Yeah,
Right.
let's do the. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which, 60?
Yeah.
60. What'd you
Okay.
say?
Let's do 60 and give us a little time to work through it. And if it's going to fall apart, then you can bring it back to us.
Okay.
So
So-
November 22nd.
Thanks, Don.
Are you good with that?
Yeah, that sounds good.
you said November 22nd.
November 22nd.
That'd be great. Okay, we'll move on to item K. Considering agreement with Trans Systems for professional engineering services for design of water treatment facility improvements. Sean, welcome.
Thank you. This is the contract for the work at the water treatment plant we've discussed a couple of times at previous meetings. The bulk of the work is replacement of the motor control center, addition of standby generator, improvements to the service lines for the facility, and then also settling basin renovation. We've done some of this work on the current on-call contract, but this work will eventually be reimbursed through the KDHE loan, and the contract's been adjusted to reflect that previous work.
That is a ton of money.
I thought when we were going through the budget that we were going to wait till we got the rate study to really see if we could do it all at once. And
This feels premature.
yeah, because
Because
You
we
know,
don't get the
I
money
look-
to do the projects. I don't want to pay for the design.
yeah, and looking, we're still got some things hanging, and the water sewer fund is pretty tight, and I think we got to get all of our numbers together to know if we can do the electric entrance only, because all this is going to add up and put a strain if we have to increase our water sewer rates significant. Then we've got to look at this payment in there too, and each of it keeps adding up at this time. And we've got the audit results coming up that I think we need to get all our dollars together before we go any farther to see. And I'm concerned about the electric service entrance for sure and the others, but I'm also concerned with our dollars that, with our mill increase, water sewer rate increase. I would feel more comfortable having all this together to know exactly where we're going to be before we, $300,000 just in engineering. I'd feel better to pay the on-call contract to date and table any more design until we actually know where we are financially.
Yeah, that's too much money to spend unless we're absolutely certain we're ready to move into construction. I mean, I don't think we're at that point yet.
Yeah, for the whole thing.
Yeah, right. If we, like you said, we may have to do it over several years, and we design a piece and install it and so on.
When you look back at our budget and our cash carrying forward in the water sewer fund, it gets down 200,000. I think one year we're going to start with, and I just think there's some numbers we need to get all settled down and know where we are before we go ahead with the contract.
Mickey, where is that rate schedule? I mean, the rate study.
It's about due, and but the reason Sean's here is because the last meeting you were talking about needing to look at this. So
Right. Understood.
it's strictly because we thought the commission wanted him.
Yeah.
Well, he was doing work on a project without a contract. And that, on-call contracts usually are only used for construction project with a maximum dollar amount. The state is like $700,000. And we've used an on-call contract to do a $3 million project that started on. And, you know, we really need to have our contracts before any work is done, so we'll know where we are. And, you know, like now with just one engineer, you know, should we have got multiple bids for the work? You know, I appreciate Trans-System's work, but I'm speaking as city commissioner looking at the dollars that we have to decide where it goes. So that's how I'm speaking now, not as an individual. But, you know, I think we have to look at our dollars, 'cause, you know, like you mentioned, we've got a lot of things when we're going through budget, streets and things, and we have to just watch that we are getting the most mileage from our dollars.
Fred?
I'm okay.
All right. All right, so, Sean, I think the consensus is we're not willing to move forward with this at this point. We need to see the
It's a
rate
good-
study and, yeah.
Understood.
It's a good
Yeah.
budget number so that we know what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
In terms of total expenditures. When we get to that point, that'll also give some numbers for the committee
Yeah.
that studies City Hall and the other parts of the city that we're trying to, and essentially come up with a master plan for.
Yeah.
Sure.
I hope we can start on this project soon, not let it drag out for a long time. All right, anything else on item K before we move on?
No.
Mickey, anything for you? Okay. L, consider providing direction regarding a storm sewer issue at 10th and Laurel.
To give some background on this problem, there is a storm sewer junction manhole at 10th and Laurel that during heavy rain has the lid has basically been surcharged off. What's causing that is that on the 10th and Chestnut.
Hey, what did we say about cell phones back there? Sorry.
On the 10th and Chestnut GI project funded by KDOT, it's a requirement that you design all that storm sewer to handle a 10-year event. We're tying into an existing storm sewer that doesn't have that capacity.
Right.
It's been going on for several months. The city actually inspected that several months ago, found a lot of debris in that downstream sewer. We had hoped that taking that debris out, there's actually some plywood in that, takes the debris out.
Wow.
And it would stop the surcharging, but it hasn't. Kind of a practical fix is to put a bolt down lid on that junction manhole.
So then the water will back up further
But
up.
if it backs up, it just simply comes out of one of the curb inlets.
Right.
That's an open inlet.
Right.
So you're really not going to have the
Yeah,
lid
the
coming
lid
off
issue.
and creating a traffic hazard.
There's really no other option, is there? I mean,
No, improving the downstream storm sewer is several $1 million.
Right.
So no, there's not a practical option.
Was the camera ran clear to the end of the line or just a few blocks?
I believe Mike Passura did that. Did he, Kelly? Do you know? I don't know if Mike's here or Terry. I don't recall.
But what I've noticed, there's two manholes. The one closest to the intersection was last Thursday night with the rain we had. It was way up and it shifted. The next one south is also lifting up too. And then on Chestnut, there seems to be a lot of water on the roadway. I see the solution of bolting it down, but it's going to push the problem somewhere else. Before we have an actual, I think I hesitate to say, here's the solution, do it, because you're the engineer. I think we need to have the line checked to make sure that it's clear down, because it comes up so quick. Every rain we have, it's just a quick, intense rain. We get the charge, and by the water backing up on Chestnut and 10th, then there's a problem with vehicular traffic driving through the standing water. But the manhole comes up serves as a relief for that pressure. And I guess if we could look at it and have a finite solution once and for all, is it 2 manholes, 3 manholes we have to bolt down to kind of anticipate where it's going? It looks like the grading or something has increased the surface drainage in that area, and of course plywood in a storm drain is going to present.
The storm sewer before the project went to the same place, so I don't think that ultimately there's not an increase in overall volume getting to it. It is getting there faster because of the 10-year design. I can get with city staff. We can examine how much has been video inspected and certainly report back.
They're farther south on Birch is where the storm line collapsed about 1.5 years ago. So, and where it discharges on Penn Avenue, next to Rock Creek and the railroad tracks, there's a lot of sediment that the pipe is just open, but it's sediment almost as high as a pipe. That might be something we need to look at with the railroad to improve the drainage into the creek. Maybe it's backing up in that whole area, but I think we need to look to know we've done all instead of just bolting down one manhole cover. If you could look at that area and come back with your solution for the problem, I think that would.
Okay.
That sounds like a good plan to me. Make sure we don't have obstructions downstream. All right. Thank you, Sean. Okay. Item M. Consider Treasurer's financial statement for August 31st. Jen?
There are not a lot of changes on this. This was just something that I was trying to complete as I had gotten behind with the move. You will note that one of the lease payments was updated, remaining balances, because we did make a payment. I do still have some items that Commissioner Kaflish has questioned me about that I do need to get back to you.
Okay. Is that something you can send us via email or present at next meeting?
Absolutely.
Which do you prefer?
I could do both. If you
Okay.
prefer it by email, I can do it by email. I'm not
It
sure.
was questions, so let's hear it open.
So I
Doing
can
it
bring
at
it
the
to the meeting
meeting?
and summarize an
Okay.
email like I did
Yeah.
last time.
Yeah.
That'd be
Okay.
perfect. Good. Thank you.
Now, did on the KDHE grant, did you get it?
We have applied
Figured.
for this one.
Okay, great.
Okay. Any questions for Jen?
Yeah.
Fred, anything? No. All right. Item N, update on city projects. City staff has provided a copy of a timeline relating to City Hall facilities. Do we want to go over that, or?
No, just for your information.
Okay.
If you got any questions on it.
All right. Any questions, gentlemen, on that? Wasn't really news.
No, I didn't. It's kind of a track of where we hit some mile points. I know that
Right.
as it came up, it always comes down to money to be able to do certain things. And
Yeah.
I think the learning point from where we ended up with City Hall, we're going to have to work on our communication a lot better.
The three of us, or the three of us and
The
city
team,
staff? Okay.
yeah,
All right.
as commissioners and city manager and staff, because, going back, looking at the timeline and the dialogue, we talk about problems and maintenance, but yet, do we need to say do maintenance, or is maintenance intended to be done as it happens? Maybe, like our master plan, maybe we need to look at specific building maintenance items that we can kind of do anticipation and allow for preventative maintenance. So, there's a schedule of anything falling within these parameters here's our maintenance budget, and it can be done. Some of it's like, a roof. You bring it to us, do we need to tell you to fix it? Or, I can see some communication problems that we need to smooth out so that we can avoid things getting delayed. That, there's certain maintenances, a roof leak, you got a small hole, fix it before it gets a big hole.
Right.
And, maybe as we go through the planning stage or budget, we can look at some kind of formula or some way that we can be proactive, that we know we're doing our duties, and if you got a question, you can bring it to us, and we can just communicate a little better. It's the whole key, communication, and with schedules, charts, diagrams, whatever. If we get it in writing, then we know right where we are.
Yeah, that sounds good. I know that sometimes it's not real clear, if they say we need a new backhoe, does that mean we want a new backhoe really badly, or till they say somebody's going to die operating this backhoe, and then suddenly we have no choice, which...
Yeah, well, in like the electric problem, we talked about it.
Right,
and,
over and over.
And the grounding and some things that, I hear it one way. If we don't get it written down in a definite direction, then it just keep coming back and back and back.
Right.
And we need to learn from what's happened.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, a lot of the issues have turned out to be budget issues that we faced over time. And, of course, there's been some disagreement about what we're going to do about City Hall over time. But the accusation that there wasn't anything trying to be done is not accurate by this timeline. So, while I agree with you, communication is a part of the issue. I've always felt like whoever's, wants to communicate is responsible for the communication part of it. And so if we have more questions, then we need to ask more questions. And might help if staff were then able to make recommendations or tell us more consequences of not proceeding. In other words, one of the things we found out recently, as we found out some dire straits about the backhoe. That was the backhoe.
Right.
And so then when you face budget issues, we're always prioritizing. And so then it becomes an issue of, do we finally do something about it, or do we just not have a backhoe? Or do we come up with an alternative plan? So we can plan all we want, and budget all we want, but we do have to remember that we have to remain flexible, because there's a crystal ball doesn't tell us what's going to happen. So,
Fair enough. All right. Anything else on that general topic, Leonard?
Relating
Come.
to that, too, Commissioner Kublish had asked for the loss control inspection, last one, so I made copies of that for you
Okay.
guys.
Okay.
All right. The next thing I have on the under reports is Barb Burskins advised that approximately 40 trees will be planted downtown. Is that, Barb?
Yeah.
Is that the rest of them, or? Okay. Including the dead ones being replaced?
there's that. Yeah.
Are you going to try to use volunteers again?
I would love to do the same program.
Yeah, because I've had people say, I'd love to volunteer if you tell me when and where, so.
We had a lot of volunteers to help with the first phase.
Right. I think that's great. Take a lot of ownership in their trees that way. So can you make that known when you're ready for volunteers, when you're ready to plant? Okay, do we already have the trees?
No.
Okay, so we're going to be purchasing them short. Okay, great. All right, wonderful. Any questions for Barb, gentlemen? Okay. Let's see, that brings us to O, report on city board minutes. We have minutes of the Housing Authority and the Planning Commission. Any discussion on those? Mickey or anyone else? Any questions, gentlemen?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Also, Mayor, back on another item, Commissioner Kaflish had asked for some drawings of the 10th and Chestnut project. So I have made some copies of those as well.
Okay.
I also included the commentary that you provided of the issue you had after the last meeting. You said you thought your vehicle might have been damaged on the storm sewer lid.
Drove through the
Yes.
open manhole. Yeah, it was okay.
Good. That's good news. Okay, so that brings us to commission comments then. Fred, anything you want to bring up? No? Leonard?
No, not
Okay.
tonight.
I have none either. Public concerns then. Okay, number one is Richard McWilliams. Sorry, is that the correct name, Richard? Yes. All right. Welcome. You know the rules, right? 3 minutes? Sure. All right, thank you.
Good afternoon. Most people call me Tony, but only
Okay.
my wife calls me Richard when she's mad at me. Good afternoon, folks. I'm here to speak about the issue we had behind the hospital building on West Myrtle. Starting about September 3rd, I started noticing the construction site area. Decker Construction had failed to properly barricade the area. They were not following basic 1926 CFR standards for OSHA construction. Well, background, I've got 20 years in HSC experience, so I've done this all over the world. What I've noticed since then, up until September 18th, increasingly I would go by and take some photographs, notice it had not been corrected. Mr. Webb and I had talked about it on the about the 12th, and we were supposed to get all this corrected. However, they did not really correct it very well, kind of haphazardly put up the barricades. There's a daycare center right close by, so pedestrian traffic is a concern to me. So on the 18th, I stopped back by there, and at this time, I'd given everyone 15 days or so to get this corrected. So what we did was I went ahead and called OSHA and made a formal complaint. While I was out there, also was approached by one of the Decker Construction employees, was physically threatened. So I filed a complaint with the police department here, matter of record. Speaking with the building inspector, the public safety director, and Mr. Webb, finally on the 18th, they did get it corrected after everyone finally got on board. The problem I have with this, guys, is it took 2 weeks to get a 3-hour fix that someone could have gotten injured. What we have here is a culture change problem. I don't think anybody here wants to see anyone get injured, whether it be a construction hand or an employee. But whose jurisdiction is it? Who's required to do it? That's the problem. Right? It's everybody's problem. If you're a city employee, you have stop work authority. If you don't know what that means you have the right to stop a job if you see it's not safe. You're walking by there every day. It's outside your window. You notice something that's wrong, stop it. It doesn't matter if it's Decker or TriStar Utilities, which, by the way, today I stopped them and commented them on their safe work. So I'm not just a mean old safety guy after all. What I think needs to be done here, guys, is my suggestion. Bring everybody in, all your supervisors, all your construction guys, your companies you work with. Do you have a bridging document between them, their safety program, and yours as a city? Are you on board with everything? Do you understand what the hazards are? If you don't know what the hazards are, then that's fine. Let's understand them. However, if you do know what the hazards are and you choose to ignore it, you're violating Section 501C of the OSHA Code of Federal Regulations, which is duty to act. If you failure to have the duty of act, to act on it, it's known as a willful violation by OSHA. And I know any of you guys don't want that to happen. I don't. Anybody who's been in business knows better. Work together. Get these guys and your construction companies together. You know, and guys, I understand. I'm very passionate about safety. Ms. Pasteur here will attest to that. So will our building inspector.
That's time.
But I can tell you that I'm here to help you guys if you need it.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Jen. Okay, next, Deb Miller.
Throughout the last 5 years, I and other citizens have been dedicated to improving our city government. We have met many individuals that have thanked us for the work we've been doing. We've asked each of those individuals to become involved in our cause. Alarmingly, many of them have not wanted to do so because they have feared retaliation from Mickey Webb and the city. Individuals have feared the city might start closely scrutinizing them or their property. Because of the good old boy network that exists between the city and local employers and vendors, they have feared the loss of their jobs. Business owners have feared the city would send various inspectors to their property to perform inspections, write citations, threaten to close them down, arrest them, and so forth. I've known about this fear for many years, but have not brought it before any commissioners because I thought they would find the claims incredulous. However, since multiple individuals circulating the petition to relieve Mickey Webb of his duties have encountered citizens with the same fear, and since some city leaders have engaged in what may very well be considered retaliatory behavior by the legal system, there's little doubt that the fear of some citizens is not only real but justified. Most Americans celebrate the basic freedoms guaranteed by their Constitution. Perhaps the most cherished of those freedoms is freedom of speech. Not only is it guaranteed, but guaranteed without fear of retribution. This evening, a petition signed by over 12% of the active voters and independents will be presented to you for your consideration. As citizens of Independence, we would ask that this commission recognize the hard work, dedication, undeniable love of independence, and courage shown by the individuals that have circulated and signed this petition. That you recognize this petition deserves the same careful consideration from you as a petition from citizens supportive of Mickey Webb and the city. Although some of the people that have been associated with this petition may not have been members of the city's preferred group of citizens, they are nonetheless citizens and taxpayers. That you recognize that the fear of retaliation by Mickey Webb and the city may very well have decreased the number of signatures that otherwise may have been on this petition. That you recognize that this commission has a legal obligation to protect citizens' rights to free speech. This includes setting the expectation that Mickey Webb will not use the names on this petition as an enemy's hit list, since the right to petition without retribution is another right guaranteed to each American. That you recognize that Mickey Webb must be fired so all citizens of Independence may have a city manager who will respect their right of free speech. Right now, many of us feel that that right has been denied to us, a feeling no American should ever have to experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. All right. Louis Isuzi. Welcome.
Well, a lot of the things that I wanted to address, the potential OSHA violations have already been covered. Debbie's made some points that I wanted to cover. The petition presented to the city commissioners to remove the city manager is a direct result of what many of the community feel. It is lack of truth, transparency, and accountability in directing city affairs. Over 650 people have expressed their displeasure with the way the city is being managed and signed the petition. And once again, this is not my words. People have expressed that they were afraid to make their names known to the city, fearing retaliation. That's coming from contractors, people that have family that work for the city, people that are involved with the city. So I can't retaliate against anybody. So where is that coming from? Good question, isn't it? Its purpose, this petition, was to band people together in the community that feel that they've been marginalized, that are frustrated, and are seeking legitimate change. They're not haters of independence. They want what's good for independence too, but they have some legitimate concerns, and by rightly so. And they have the right to express those concerns. My opinion is not weighted any heavier than anybody else here in this room. All these opinions are equal. That's the beauty about America. You have the right to speak your voice and your opinion without fear of being retaliated against or intimidated. It's not been the case. I've had people tell me their jobs may be on the line if they were associated with the petition in any way. I've had people that were, in a sense, intimidated not to lend a helping hand on this, and that's fine. That's fine. The signatures came pretty easy. People called. We went to the addresses, we signed them up, they instructed us to go to other areas, and we did the same. So, I've sat through your meetings before. Sometimes the meetings appear to be dysfunctional. Appears to be like the tail is wagging the dog. I don't know whether that's intentional or just a consequence of, regular city government. I know the city has many issues to address, but one thing that I noticed is that you guys realize he works for you. He's responsible to you. If you're not getting information in a timely manner, demand it. You shouldn't have to wait 2 or 3 or 4 months for documents in order to make a decision. Too many of the time, the information is just wrong. And, I understand he has a behavior issue. You've had to make an apology to a big area contractor for his behavior. Well, stop apologizing for him. He's a growing person. He needs to apologize for himself. So, in conclusion,
That's time, Lewis.
The divisiveness and the discord in the community rest on his shoulders. And I would like to present the petitions to you.
Would you give it to the clerk, the city clerk?
Okay.
That'd be great.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Lewis.
And keep it on there.
Okay. Lisa, Richard? Okay, Lisa.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to talk to you about something briefly that is really intended as a neutral issue. It has nothing to do with any of these other items on today's agenda or anything that anyone has brought up here for your consideration. I used to work with a municipality in Alaska, the Matanuskis, who sit in a borough, which is the same borough that Sarah Palin actually came from, although not the same town that we were in. They had a good system there for providing information to citizens. They did that on their website. So, for example, if there's an important planning document relating to a planning meeting that's coming up, they would post the entire document on the website. People wouldn't need to make public records requests for it. There was no expense involved to any party in getting that information out to the public. So I'd like to make the suggestion that you all consider that here. I would think that your technological abilities and capacity are at least equal to some outpost way up in Alaska, and you can probably do even better. You do have a great website. Placing a link for these meetings on that website is wonderful, and that's a great start. But eventually, I would recommend that you place your packets for your commissioner meetings, not to include any documents that might have personal information or be in any way confidential, but your public packets, what someone would get if they made a public records request, that those be placed on the web in advance of your meetings, at least one day. What they did in the borough was if there was information that came in at the last minute, those pages were placed in the commissioner's envelopes on the table. So I'm going to move on. I know you have it's been a long night for everyone, but I really think this would be great for you and for the public to increase the information flow and open up some of these lines of communication, maybe decrease a little bit of this frustration that we hear about. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Lisa. All right. Any call for executive session tonight? All right. Then I think that's the end of our agenda. Motion to adjourn?
That's so moved.
Second? All in favor?
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thanks, everyone.